Housing prices are starting to soften, but in general, they're still historically high. And that includes new homes. And we know that a big part of the new home price increases are due to ever increasing costs for building. So in this short video, I want to focus on material costs for new homes. It's pretty well known that material costs make up about half of the cost of a new home. The good news is lumber, which is, by the way, it makes up the largest category of material costs for a new home. So lumber futures prices have dropped about 67% since the highs set in March of this year. But this doesn't tell the whole story. So what I want to do is dive into the details and finish with my thoughts on where new home material costs might be going from here. So let's start with an analysis of lumber. Random Length lumber futures have dropped from a high set in March of $1,477 to a low this past week of $490 per thousand board feet. Now this comes out to a drop of roughly 67% over that 5 months. But these numbers are wholesale numbers that aren't yet reflected in retail lumber prices that go into new homes. It's also important to note that this reduction is for Random Lengths lumber and doesn't include OSB or plywood panels or any of the other items found in the lumber package, including fasteners, house wraps, subfloor glue, and things of that nature. Another item that will bring lumber prices down in the near future is the reduction in lumber tariffs on Canadian lumber that's brought into the United States. Now, the tariffs were 17.99%, and that's going to be cut in half to 8.59%. Now, this tariff reduction should start later this month and decrease the final cost that we pay for lumber coming in from Canada. So taking into account the 67% reduction in futures numbers that we talked about and the reduced tariffs, how much would this affect the overall cost for a new home? Well, obviously there are a lot of variables here that are really tough to quantify, but let's look at a smaller home as an example. The overall rough lumber package for a smaller home can easily add up to $25,000 today. And let's say that the retail lumber prices still have another 20% to fall over the next 4 to 6 weeks. Again, there are a lot of assumptions here, but at that rate, the overall cost would decrease $5,000. And if you saw our last video that showed the largest home builder in the country, D.R. Horton, is currently marking up costs 43%, the overall price for a new home built by them would be reduced by about $7,000, assuming that they pass the savings on to you, the buyer. So that's lumber. But I also want to show you guys how overall new home construction material costs have changed over time. So over the last 9 months, I put together several videos showing house plans with the rough estimated cost to build. So let's take a look at how those material costs have changed over both a 5-month and a 9-month period. So if we look at the Kincaid house plan from a company called Advanced House Plans, this is a 2,554 square foot home with a 2-car garage. We see that the overall material costs, which includes most of the materials to build the home, with the exception of concrete and HVAC, we see that these costs have gone up $14,000 over a 9-month period through to today. Now, the material costs have gone up from $142,000 to $156,000, which equates to an almost 10% increase for this particular house. Again, this is for a 9-month period of time. Now let's take a look at a shorter time frame of just 5 months. If we look at the Newport plan from Advanced House Plans, which is a 1,658 square foot house with a 2-car garage, we see the material cost to build the home have dropped from a total of $127,000 in early March of this year all the way down to $119,800 today. Now that's a decrease of almost $7,200 over a 5-month period, almost 5.6%. So based on the lumber items we just discussed, I really think the overall material costs for building a home have room to fall even more in the coming months. Just how much material costs fall is tough to call, but I think any relief will be good for the owner builder. That's it for today, gang. This is Michael Luckadoo with OwnerBuilderClass.com.